Ma'am, I think you took a wrong turn. The VIP spouses lounge is back down the hall. Lieutenant Miller's voice carried unearned confidence as he blocked the entrance to the Joint Operations Center. His pristine navy whites still held their packaging creases. Allison Grant didn't turn around. Her attention remained on the enormous world map dominating the wall, a living constellation of data points and encrypted links blinking in ceaseless motion. Her royal blue civilian top stood out starkly against the sea of military uniforms. Her blonde hair was tied in a simple knot. "Ma'am, this is a restricted area," Miller repeated, stepping closer. "I need to see you back to the administrative wing." Allison finally turned, her winter sky eyes calm and direct. She held up her green-backed common access card. "I have access, Lieutenant." Miller's patronizing smile appeared. "Right, a contractor pass. I still need to verify your access for this tier of the SCIF. We get a lot of new support staff who get turned around on their first day." He had already decided who she was. A secretary, an assistant, maybe a linguist who'd wandered off. He didn't see that she was the reason this entire operations floor existed. "That won't be necessary," Allison said evenly. "I'm here for the Chimera brief." The classified project name should have stopped him cold. Instead, it emboldened him. "Everyone's here for the Chimera brief, ma'am, but access to the primary observation deck is limited to flag level and senior command staff." He now actively blocked her path. Nearby analysts began watching with cautious interest. "Lieutenant," Allison said, ice edging her tone, "take my card, scan it, read the name, read the billet description, then step aside." Miller snatched the card and stomped to the security podium. He squinted at the screen, expecting to see a corporate logo or low-level clearance. What he saw made no sense. A major? This woman? He had met Marine majors before, men with square jaws and high and tight haircuts. They were not her. His mind rebelled against the data. "This is an expired credential," he declared loudly, playing to the small audience. "Or a misprint. There's no way." "There is a way, Lieutenant," Allison said. "The way is that you are mistaken." "I'm going to need to make a call to verify this," Miller said, puffing out his chest. "We can't have civilians walking around with fraudulent military identification." He picked up a secure handset, turning his back to her. He was doubling down because the alternative, that he'd just condescendingly challenged a field-grade officer with clearances far above his own, was too humiliating to contemplate. Across the room, Master Chief Petty Officer Torres watched. 30 years of experience in naval communications clicked into place. He'd seen her name on the Chimera Access roster. He pulled up an encrypted command channel and typed urgently. The call sign was a risk. It wasn't official, wasn't in any file, but it was a legend. As Miller continued his call, Allison's hand closed around the challenge coin in her pocket. Its edges were worn smooth from years of carry. The sterile air faded, replaced by the memory of dust and cordite. She was in the back of a shuddering C-130, banking hard out of a contested valley in Kunar province. A Delta Force colonel, his face smeared with camouflage paint and exhaustion, pressed the coin into her palm. His team was alive because of a ghost they'd never seen, a voice on the radio they knew only by her call sign. "Warlock 6, he'd whispered over the roar of engines. "My guys are breathing because you can hear whispers in the static. Don't ever let anyone tell you what a warrior looks like." The coin was from his unit, a token never given to outsiders. A symbol of trust earned in the crucible, recognition of lethality that had nothing to do with a rifle and everything to do with the mind. Miller hung up decisively. "All right, ma'am, my commanding officer agrees. Your credentials cannot be verified. Security detail is on its way. I'd advise you to cooperate fully." He had crossed the final line. It was no longer a misunderstanding. It was a threat. Allison didn't reply. She simply watched the main doors, her expression unreadable. She had faced far more dangerous men. She had learned that patience was a weapon. Miller mistook her silence for fear. He was about to learn how wrong he was. Torres's urgent message flashed onto a monitor inside the flag-level conference room. A Navy Vice Admiral, an Air Force Lieutenant General, and a Coast Guard Vice Admiral were mid-briefing. The Admiral's aide leaned down to whisper, "Sir, Warlock 6 is on the floor and she's being detained by the watch officer." The effect was instantaneous. The Navy Vice Admiral's face hardened into a thundercloud. He knew exactly who Warlock 6 was. He'd read the classified reports that were still legend at NSA and SOCOM. Project Chimera, the multi-billion-dollar intelligence fusion program, was her brainchild. She wasn't just consulting, she was its chief architect. "On screen," he commanded. They saw it all. Miller with his chest puffed out, and Allison standing alone, calm, patient, surrounded by an invisible wall of dignity. The Admiral pulled up her file. Bronze Star with V for Valor, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Joint Service Commendation Medal, citations filled with astonishing phrases. Under direct fire, fused disparate intelligence streams to provide life-saving targeting data. Credited with saving the lives of 14 members of Task Force 121. He's detaining a national asset over a goddamn ID check, the Air Force general said, her voice tight with fury. The Navy Admiral stood. He's not detaining anyone. He's ending his career. He looked at the other flag officers. "Let's go for a walk." With a soft hiss, the main doors slid open. The subtle hum of the JIOC vanished into absolute silence. Every person on the floor felt the shift, the primal recognition of apex predators entering. 3 flag officers, 9 stars moving with singular purpose. Vice Admiral Stanton, Lieutenant General Wallace, and Vice Admiral Hayes strode onto the floor. The entire room snapped to attention, 100 bodies moving as one, all except 2. Miller, frozen with his mouth half open, and Allison Grant, who simply watched. Stanton didn't look at Miller. His eyes were locked on Allison. They marched directly to her and stopped precisely 3 feet away. Then, in perfect unison, the 3 admirals snapped to the sharpest, most respectful salute Miller had ever seen. "Major Grant," Vice Admiral Stanton's voice boomed in the silence. "My apologies for the delay. We're ready for your brief whenever you are." A collective gasp rippled through the room. 3 flag officers saluting a woman in a blue top. Miller's face turned the color of ash. Stanton held his salute before dropping it. He turned to Miller, his gaze one of profound, Arctic disappointment. "Commander," he said to his aide, though his eyes drilled into Miller, "please remind the JIOC staff who our guest is today." The aide stepped forward. "Attention on deck. This is Major Allison Grant, United States Marine Corps Reserve. Major Grant is the chief architect and lead strategist for Project Chimera. She served 2 tours in Afghanistan as lead signals intelligence officer for Joint Special Operations Task Force Aurelius. Her call sign was Warlock 6. The name landed like a bomb. Warlock 6, the ghost in the machine who dismantled entire enemy networks, who could hear a pin drop in a hurricane of signal noise. The operators knew that name. They just never knew it belonged to the calm blonde woman before them. During Operation Spartan Fury, Major Grant's real-time intelligence fusion prevented a multi-pronged ambush on a SEAL team, saving 14 lives. Her work led to the capture of 3 top-tier enemy commanders. For this, she was awarded the Bronze Star with Valor. She is here at the direct request of the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Miller looked ready to faint. Stanton addressed him directly. his voice a surgical instrument of destruction. "Lieutenant Miller, you are the watch officer on this floor. Your duty is to facilitate secure operations. It is not your duty to play gatekeeper based on uninformed assumptions. You saw a woman in civilian clothes and invented a narrative that fit your prejudices. You have failed in your duties, embarrassed this command, and insulted a decorated officer. Report to my office at 1400 hours. Be prepared to explain why you're still fit to hold a commission." He turned back to Allison, his demeanor softening. "Major, again, my apologies, shall we?" Allison nodded, but before moving she looked at the shattered young man. She saw the fear and humiliation and chose not to crush him. "Admirals," she said calmly, "Lieutenant Miller was thorough. The security of a facility like this is paramount." His instincts to verify were correct. She turned to Miller. "The standard is the standard, Lieutenant. It's the same for everyone. Your only mistake was failing to apply it fairly. Don't see a uniform or a civilian top. See the person, read the card, trust the system, that's all." It was a masterclass in grace, a lesson instead of final judgment, in its own way more devastating than the Admiral's rebuke, the wisdom of a true leader. The incident became a quiet cautionary tale, a mandatory training module on unconscious bias, and credential verification was implemented, colloquially known as the Miller Drill. Miller was formally reprimanded and reassigned to a dreary administrative post in Norfolk. His career prospects were permanently dimmed. One rainy afternoon, Allison sat in the base coffee shop, reviewing data. She heard a tentative voice. "Ma'am." It was Miller. He looked thinner, humbled. "Ma'am, Major Grant," he stammered at attention. "I just wanted to apologize properly. What I did was inexcusable. I was arrogant and wrong. I've thought about it every day since. What you said about applying the standard fairly, I won't forget it." Allison studied him, seeing genuine remorse. She closed her tablet. "Sit down, Lieutenant." He hesitated, then sat stiffly. "You made a serious mistake, Miller, one that could have had major consequences. But you've recognized it. That's the first and most important step. Your career isn't over, but it's different now. You've learned humility." She leaned forward. "Look at the credentials, not the cover. The person in front of you has a story. Your job is to read the official part first. Let that guide you. You do that, and you might just become a good officer one day." "Thank you, ma'am," he managed, his voice thick with emotion. "I will." She gave him a simple nod and reopened her tablet. The lesson was delivered. A small piece of a broken career had been set back in place. The story of Major Grant is a testament to the quiet professionals who serve in the shadows, whose valor is measured not in loud explosions but in silent, brilliant victories. Their battlefield is the unseen world of data and signals. Their courage the strength to be unassuming in a world that often judges by appearance.